Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how do you go about writing a book. Writing a book is going to challenge you at every turn, but there's so many ways to get writing done, even by going for a walk or going for a drive. Did you know that there are two approaches to writing? You probably think about sitting at the keyboard, but there's another approach. There's other ways to go about doing this. I get it. This process can feel so overwhelming, but just keep going. Stick with it because there's awesome stuff on the opposite side of finishing your book. By the end of this video, you will learn how to gather information to build up your story, the importance of book foundation work, and the two approaches to writing. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a resource I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. Writing a book is hard. It is super, super hard. I know it's probably frustrating you. I know you're probably hitting that wall. The fact that you're finding this video means that you're struggling in some way to learn more about this. I get it. I've been there. I know what it feels like as somebody who's been writing books professionally for half a decade now. There's still things I'm learning, So the idea that you would just step in first time around and understand everything there is to book writing, there's too much of a learning curve. It's too difficult. It's too challenging. The fact that you're looking for more information, the fact that you're trying to learn about this is inspiring, and it means you're on the right track because there's so much that you can learn, but learning the skills that you need to write a great book, it's going to empower you in so many ways. So you're on the right track. The book writing process, especially when you're writing a book about your life, is all about digging deep. It's about connecting the dots. How do you understand how all the pieces fit together? You really have to think deeply about your life. Often when I work with clients, we're covering all this challenging ground, all the obstacles that they faced and overcame and struggled with in their life. And I start asking questions and connecting pieces for them. And they tell me, I never connected those dots before. I never saw it that way. This is really about taking a different viewpoint of your whole life, because you're looking at it from the bigger perspective. The things in childhood that you learned from, that you struggled with at the time, that you're now facing as an adult. It's about going through this process and being empowered by your story, owning your story, and being able to move forward with purpose, understanding that your story matters and it's worth sharing with other people so they can learn something too. By connecting all these pieces and digging deep on your story, it just empowers you. It helps you write the best book possible. It's not enough, though, just to write your own reflections. Our memories are fleeting. Our brain flips things around. It makes things look different ways to us in hindsight than it actually happened. Do research. This is not just about brain dump onto the page and then we're done. This is about making sure that your story is as factually sound as possible. Do the research, talk to people, interview them. Maybe they have different perspectives of some of the stories that you're wanting to share in the book. And they may also have insights about how to package those stories, how to make those stories resonate, and how those stories connect to everything else. It's great to be able to get that insight. It's great to be able to do research. I go on newspapers.com almost every day looking things up from the past for projects. It's not like I'm going there for fun, even though it is a fun site. YouTube's another great resource. YouTube's been around now for 20 years. There's a lot of material there that from all of time, that's been gathered. There's information out there to help you support and build on your stories, but you need to go find it and dig it up. Dig deep on exploring it, finding out everything you can, because you're going to be putting these stories out there. You don't want to be challenged left and right saying this is inaccurate. You want to do your best to lock everything in and make it as strong as possible. A big element of the book writing process is book foundation work. When I talk about book foundation work, it's really your outline, your audience, and your hook. Your hook is the reader takeaway and how they're going to carry this book forward in their lives. So you really need to understand what that means. What that 1 to 2 sentence is, because you're going to want to put that in the book and in your marketing materials. You're going to want people to know from the cover, and if not the cover, the first page, exactly what they're going to take away from this book. Whether or not it's explicitly stated or it's just a sentiment, you really want to know what that is, because it's really going to help you tap into what the reader is interested in and what they want. And that ties into the next step, which is audience. Who is your reader? Who is the person that's going to read your book? It's not everybody. Please don't think it's for everybody. No book is for everybody. When you think about your audience, be as specific as possible. You know, if your book is about cross-country running, don't think that your book is for every single sports enthusiast. It's probably not. But at the same time, there's people in the greater sports world that are interested in your book about cross-country running. You know, so it's a balance in finding exactly who you're focused on, exactly who you're speaking to with your book, and writing the best book for them. And if you can write the best book for them, you're liable to attract other people that, even if it's a book about cross-country, they're like, oh, I want to read this now too. Like, this is really interesting. This is empowering for me. You know, so you want to think about it in terms of the most narrow, specific audience as possible, and then build out from there. The next step in this book foundation work is the outline. You know, what is the reader journey from beginning to end? And what are the things that you're including inside the frame of this book? Not outside of the frame, but inside the frame. What are the things that are in the book that are empowering for the reader? By understanding what you want to include in the book, it's going to make the writing process easier because now you don't have to worry about all that other stuff. You can really just focus in and write the best book possible. All right, now that you've done all the foundation work, you've dug deep on the story, you've interviewed people, whatever the case may be, it's time to get to writing. The writing process is a challenge, it's a struggle, and it's an opportunity to explore the full scope of your story, to see where the story takes you. You know, sometimes when I'm writing things down, like it's magic, but it just flows out and you're just like, I can't believe that I got here. I can't believe that this story took me here. But you know, it's just all about being open to seeing where it all takes you. The writing process is a challenge, and it's really so important to figure out what's going to motivate you to keep going. You know, what's going to take away the friction points to make the writing process as easy as possible for you, because if it's a struggle, you're going to stop. Think about technology, for example. If you're working with a computer or a program that isn't familiar with you, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get angry every single time. You want it to be as simple as possible. If that means, you know, writing into email and then putting it somewhere else, if that means, you know, Microsoft Word, if that means Google Docs, whatever the case may be, you want to make this as simple as possible, and you want to do the writing in a way that's going to not be frustrating for you, not going to be a challenge for you. It's going to be easy as possible. That also means finding focus and cutting out distractions. There's authors out there who have these specific processes for writing. They think they have to sit at the perfect table, at the perfect spot next to the window with the sunlight streaming through. The cup of coffee is a certain temperature. They have this breakfast ready. You know, this and this and this. They've spent an hour now getting ready to write. Just write. Start writing. Don't worry about all those other things. Focus on making the most of your writing time and staying focused within those windows. Whether it's 10, 30, 60 minutes, whatever the case may be, if you can cut out digital distractions, if you can cut out pop-up alerts, if you can cut out all the noises our phones make and just setting it aside for a little bit, if you can find some quiet time, and I know it's tough sometimes, especially when we're dealing with family and we're dealing with just challenges in our lives, see what you can do to find some quiet time so you can focus. Focus is going to help you make the most of your time. It's going to help you make the most progress possible in those windows, so you're not thinking about it in terms of, I need more time. You're thinking about it in terms of, I need more focus. I need more attention on my book to make the most of my writing time. But if you can cut out distractions and you can just get to writing, it's going to empower you to keep going. So there's really two approaches to writing. There's one where you're sitting at the keyboard typing away, that's the usual one. And the other one is really recording audio. And I use recorded audio all the time when I'm writing. If I'm working with a ghostwriting client, for example, we record our conversations and I use the text from those conversations automatically transcribed into text and turn that into chapters. I think back 10 years ago when these tools didn't exist and I needed something to be transcribed, I either needed to do it myself or pay $1 a minute for a transcription service. Those days are over, thankfully. Transcription eats up so much time. And I know it's important to listen back to the interviews, but like sitting there and typing, what did they say here? Now we rewind 10 seconds, now we keep going. Like, it's so maddening. So it's a great benefit to be able to take these audio transcription tools and make the most of our time, to be efficient with our time, you take this audio, you record yourself talking, you upload it to a site like Otter or Rev, and within minutes you have text that's based on the audio. And I know there's automatic transcription tools within Microsoft Word and other programs, but I use these services because I find how accurate they are. They're really, really accurate. It's well above 90% at this point. They're great at capturing audio, turning it into text, and really empowering you on the writing journey. So if you're somebody who likes talking through stories, if you're a great storyteller in person and you want to translate that onto the page, I think you should really think about audio to text transcription, because that's a way to get those stories captured in your voice. Otherwise, you're sitting there typing, you might lose some elements in your voice, or you might not actually type the way that you talk. If you want your book to sound like you talk, then you want to use your voice as the backbone for this, and it's a great way to make tons of progress in a little bit amount of time. Next thing to keep in mind is just to keep going. I mean, this process is so tough and it's challenging, but if you can cut out the friction points, cut out the distractions, and feel empowered by your story, it's going to motivate you. It's going to be the wind behind you, pushing you forward, propelling you. You're going to be empowered by this progress. You're going to see what you've been doing and just be so proud of it, that it's going to motivate and inspire you to keep going even further and to even connect and go deeper. You're saying, okay, this chapter is good, but I'm missing this one element. Let me work on it. You know, so it's great to be able to just to feel empowered by the writing process. You know, if you're hitting those friction points, if you're struggling with technology or distractions or something else, cutting out those things could mean all the difference. I mean, it's just that little difference could mean the change between finishing and not finishing your book. Could be the change between, you know, being empowered by your story and sharing it with the world and giving up. That's such a little gap, but it's such an important thing. You know, so at the end of the day, I want you to keep going. I want you to address whatever challenges are holding you back, but keep going, because this book writing process is worth it, and there's so many opportunities on the opposite side of it. If you want to learn more about how do you go about writing a book, I want you to check out a course that I developed. I think you'll really benefit from it. It's Good Book Accountability Course. It's a weekly check-in, just a chance to keep building momentum and moving forward and empowering you on the journey to finishing your book and getting across the finish line. The course is available at my website. It's goodbookmastery.com. You can click the link below. So if you're interested in that accountability element and driving forward with your book, definitely check out the course. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.